Hello, welcome to Proven Accounting. Today we will be talking about the Plaid banking integration that is available for customers that are using the Proven Accounting system. It is free for customers that have unlimited license subscriptions, or it's a low monthly fee for customers that do have limited licenses. You can just reach out to our support team and they'd be happy to help you get signed up. The integration with Plaid can be a major time saver. Once you are linked up, your bank accounts can automatically import transactions daily to your Proven Web Accounting system for your review, and then you may post those transactions, which will also mark them cleared on your bank reconciliations, saving you lots of time. To get started linking your bank accounts, you will come down to the Preference section on the left-hand side of your Proven Web Accounting system. Underneath Preferences, you will then go to Company Preferences. Within Company Preferences, you will select Integrations. At the top of the screen, you will see the Plaid tab. When you select that tab, you will see a blue button at the bottom to add a new account. An external pop-up will come up asking you to log in for the Plaid connection. You can either enter your phone number or continue without the phone number. You will see a list of banks. You may search for your bank within this list. When you click on the bank account you're interested in linking, it will proceed to ask you your username and password for your bank account. You can rest assured this is secured through their Plaid's API. This information is not shared with Proven Web Accounting or anyone outside of Plaid. Once you have linked your bank accounts, a screen will pop up confirming which GL accounts within Proven Web Accounting you want to link to that specific bank account. I'm going to go ahead and click Edit in my test database here to show you what the screen will look like. It will be similar to this. In my example, I clicked on Edit for Tartan Bank. It then shows me what accounts I have through Tartan Bank, and I can go ahead and select what GL accounts match within Proven Web Accounting for that Tartan checking account, CD, etc. So you go ahead and customize your mapping however it relates to your books. Up here, you'll notice there's a date to sync transactions. So the first time that you're setting this up, you get to choose the date, how far back you want to go to import those transactions. With this, you need to keep in mind, if you set the date, in our example, we'll set it to June 1st. When I hit sync, it is going to then import all of my transactions from my Tartan bank accounts as of June 1st to today. Once I've done that, I want to be wary and never go back farther than June 1st, because if I did, it would resync, bringing in my previous date all the way through today, potentially duplicating the month in June in our example here. So keep that in mind when syncing the account. Once this step is done, that's all you need to do. From here forward, it will be automated daily. No need to go back and ever change that date. Now that we have our bank accounts linked, let's go see where our imports are going to show up within the system. Head on over to the banking option on the left. At the bottom of the banking options, you'll see the line for bank feeds. When you're in here, the transaction search, we can look up our GL accounts, which we have linked with Plaid. Go ahead and select one of your accounts and click Search. This is where your import will appear. There are many functions within this screen that we need to discuss before we proceed with the import. The first item I want to discuss is the fact that you have the ability to click on each of these lines and see a screen below giving you options for that particular transaction. There is also an Add button on the right that allows you to do the import if you know that the GL account that it's posting to is correct. There is also an option to see the pending transactions, the processed transactions, and the ignored transactions. Let's go back to the pending transactions and discuss these options underneath each transaction a little further. When I click on the link for the transaction, the system is automatically going to search for any potential matches within the system. This will prevent any duplications to be posted. If someone manually went in and had already created a charge for Starbucks for $4.33, we would not want to click that add button because potentially we would be doubling the expense. So to prevent that, the system has found potential matches in the system and wants confirmation if any of these are the same transaction that is appearing here. In future releases, we will have a date option appear here, which will make it even faster to match these transactions. In the meantime, and in this demo, in order to verify if any of these Starbucks charges are the Starbucks charge that was imported, we can click on the hyperlink for the withdrawal. When we do that, we see the details of the withdrawal. In this circumstance, we see that this withdrawal was done in April of 2025 to Starbucks for $4.33. But back on my bank transaction, the import didn't happen until July. Therefore, the April transaction is probably not related to the one that's imported. Therefore, I'm going to skip that, go down to my next one, and proceed to look for the July transaction. If I do find that July 15th transaction in here and I feel like that is a match, I will simply click the button, scroll down a little farther, and click the Done button. When I do that, it will post this transaction and mark it cleared on the bank reconciliation. It will not create a duplicate entry in the system. It will acknowledge that this transaction and the one that exists are one and the same, preventing that duplication. If it didn't find any matches within the system, and I felt like my account number 70050 is accurate for a Starbucks charge, I could go ahead and click the add button on the right, and it would immediately post and mark the bank reconciliation cleared for that specific transaction. That also brings us to the topic of the categories that appear in this column. These categories are actually imported from Plaid. They are not designated within Proven Web Accounting. When a food and drink category gets pulled in because Plaid has decided that Starbucks makes the most sense to go to food and drink, I can choose the GL account I want linked to food and drink by clicking on the hyperlink. When I click on the hyperlink, I'm provided my chart of accounts. And if for some reason I didn't want it to go to the account number that showed, maybe I want it to go to a different account, I can find the account in my list and hit select. The system is now alerting me that it's going to update the default GL for all transactions with the category food and drink. Are you sure you want to proceed? If I were to hit yes, it would change the GL account to what I had just selected for all items with the category food and drink. So all of these categories, food and drink, would have the new GL account I selected. So that sets the default. Again, by clicking on the hyperlink and setting your account, that is what food and drink will pull in for all transactions going forward. Now you have some categories that are generic, such as general merchandise. And a lot of these merchants potentially have different expenses. So if I wanted to change this merchant fund to a different GL account besides the 70050, however, I don't want to override it for all general merchandise, I can click on the bar for the transaction, then click the radio button for Create Bank Entry, and I can click Add Line. That now gives me the option to choose an account number for this transaction that I want. I hit Select for my new account number, and I hit done. That will post this transaction for fun to my new account number of choosing without updating the default general merchandise for all the other transactions in the list. So that's another thing to consider. This also works for deposits. When we have a deposit, by clicking on the line, it allows you to select from matches found within the system. You can also scroll down and find an invoice that you know the deposit goes to by clicking Add a Line and Invoice Number. And maybe that $500 is made up of a couple of different invoices. You can go ahead and select multiple invoices to add together for that $500 deposit. Click Done, and it will post and reconcile. So again, it's just good practice to click on each line, check for any potential existing duplications in the system to avoid posting a duplicate transaction. If you're confident that nothing has been posted, you go ahead and click Add, and it automatically posts to the GL account on the screen. Now, this also works the same for your credit card accounts. You just choose your credit card account, search, same idea. You will check for any potential matches, and then double check the GL account and go ahead and post. I would now like to show you an example and follow it through by completing one of these transactions on the import and seeing how it appears on the bank reconciliation as cleared. To do so, I'm going to navigate back to my original account, hit search, and here's my list of transactions. I'm going to select the line for my Starbucks transaction on July 15th, 2025 for $4.33. When I click on the line, I have a list of matching items that the system has found. I will identify which item matches with the merchant name, the date, and the amount. If I find a match, I will select it, scroll down, and click the blue Done box. That will post the transaction. It is now removed from my list, and I will proceed to the bank reconciliation to see how the item shows as cleared. On the left, I will navigate to Bank Account. I will go down to Bank Reconciliation. I will click Search for the account number that I had used, and I will look for my $4.33 Starbucks charge with my date of 7/15 right here, and you can see it has been marked as cleared. So that is how it works.